Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. A 1,324-page report on the Commission of Inquiry into the attempted coup delivered to the President. The Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism hosts a special luncheon to honor the Mighty Sparrow. And the Minister of Community Development makes an appeal for a revision of parenting styles. Thank you for joining us. Chairman of the Commission of Inquiry into the 1990 attempted coup, Queen's Counsel Sir David Simmons, has presented the 1,324-page report to His Excellency Anthony Carmona, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. During the handover, Queen's Counsel Simmons said a total of 44 recommendations were made within the 12 chapters of the report, with 33 of them being confined to Chapter 12, which is a 100-page long confidential document.
Your Excellency, the report runs to, I think it is 1,324 pages. There are 12 chapters. Chapter 12, which is bound in red, is confidential. That contains our findings, observations, and recommendations on matters which may affect national security interests, and we thought it best to reduce our considerations to a separate volume.
Commission Chairman, Queen's Counsel Sir David Simmons confirmed that Chapter 12, the 100-page-long confidential document, was bound in red because of the sensitive information it contains on national security issues. Queen's Counsel Simmons was accompanied to President's House by the other members of the Commission, Queen's Counsel Sir Richard Cheltenham, who was the Commission's Deputy Chairman, Diane Mahabir Wyatt, Dr. Eastland Mackenzie, and Dr. Hafizul Ali Mohammed. Sir David told the media it would be inappropriate for him to discuss any of the findings or recommendations, but sought to explain why the Commission was conducted in periodic sessions.
Your Excellency, it is a distinct honor for me to present to you this morning the report of our Commission of Inquiry. As your ADC indicated, we were appointed by instrument under the hand of the then acting President, His Excellency Mr. Timothy Hammersmith, on the 6th of September 2010. And the formal public hearings began, I think it was January 24th, 2011. It was not possible to undertake the inquiry in a continuous session. We therefore determined that we would meet from time to time in separate sessions. Not only as a matter of convenience for ourselves, but more particularly to allow counsel to do their investigations, prepare witness statements, and have all of the relevant documentation and evidence ready for a particular session.
Sir David also thanked President Carmona for granting the Commission an extension to finish off preparing its report.
Your Excellency, I am obliged to you on behalf of my fellow commissioners for granting an extension of time within which we could present the report. When we concluded the public hearings on the 23rd of September last year, according to our instruments of appointment, we had 4 months from that day to prepare the report. It was December and all of the associated festivities at Christmas that intervened, and We had hoped to meet as a commission in January. That was not possible because of prior commitments on the part of some of the commissioners.
The Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, also received the copy of the report, which will be tabled in Parliament. Meantime, asked whether Imam Yassin Abu Bakr's failure to appear before the Commission hindered its work, Sir David said although the Commission of Inquiry Act needs to be modernized because there are loopholes in it, as was evident in both this inquiry and the Clico inquiry, Bakr's non-appearance did not prevent them from making the requisite findings. Felicia Wilson, Mon, News 4.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar gave the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the 1990 attempted coup in Parliament. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar received the report on Thursday from President Anthony Carmona shortly after it was presented to him by Chairman of the Commission, Sir David Simmons. During her contribution in the House, the Prime Minister said the document was discussed at the National Security Council meeting.
So I'm pleased, Mr. Speaker, to report, to lay this report in this Honourable House for the benefit of study and debate by members of the House and by members of the national community.
A commission of inquiry into the attempted coup of July 27, 1990 was initiated by the People's Partnership Government.
After due deliberation and after study of this report yesterday in the National Security Council, we have decided as a government that we will waive the confidentiality of this part of the report, Chapter 12. And we do so respecting the wishes of the Commission, that they had wanted to keep it as confidential. But we believe that this could assist all of us in debate and study and allow us to move forward to ensure and to take appropriate steps for planning that we do not fall into the same fate as had happened in 1990.
When we come back, more love for the Mighty Sparrow. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It was a gathering not only to shower love on the doctor Slinger Francisco, the Mighty Sparrow, but also to demonstrate tangible support to a man who has contributed immensely to the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, Dr. the Honorable Lincoln Douglas, held a special luncheon in honor of the birdie where he received a contribution of US $60,000.
John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And the Mighty Sparrow is a wonderful example of what one can do for one's country, because for many years Sparrow has given the world the music of Trinidad and Tobago, firmly placing Calypso on the international stage. In honor of his immense contributions, Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism Dr. Lincoln Douglas said, "The government is committed to assisting the Mighty Sparrow in every way."
On behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, I would like to make a special presentation to Trinidad and Tobago's own undisputed Calypso King of the World. The Mighty Sparrow today, as you've heard announced before, will receive a contribution of $60,000 US from the people of Trinidad and Tobago to assist with his medical expenses.
The minister says the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism are also in discussion with the Mighty Sparrow and his family about securing his memorabilia acquired throughout his career, which will be made for public viewing.
Especially to bring to the minds of the young people, primary schools, secondary school students, to ensure that insight into the prolific career of the Mighty Sparrow is transmitted to the next generation, and also to assist with the quality of musics that we have in Trinidad and Tobago.
Additionally, the Mighty Sparrow will be bestowed with the highest honor in this country, thanks to Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the people of this country.
And that would be the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to thank you, to the Mighty Sparrow, to his family, and to all those who have supported his career here in Trinidad and Tobago over the last years for your contribution to Trinidad and Tobago.
The Mighty Sparrow then gave a special treat as he said a heartfelt thank you.
With this award and everything, I would like to point out how things can change. Calypsonian will he catch hell for a long time. To associate yourself with them was a big crime. And if your sister talk to a steel band man, the family want to break she hand, put she out, mash up every teeth in she mouth, pass you out, yes. And the steel band win the band of the year this year.
In a career spanning more than 60 years, Sparrow has redefined the calypso art form, showcasing greater diversity in composing calypsos on a wide variety of topics, and has entertained audiences all over the world. The family of the Mighty Sparrow wishes to convey their heartfelt thanks to the government of Trinidad and Tobago for covering Dr. Slinger Francisco's medical expenses. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
In other news, the issue of child abuse has been featured among the main topics highlighted at the Ministry of Community Development's Mediation Services Division Parenting Support Workshop held at the Coover Point Lisa's Chamber of Commerce. Delivering the feature address, the Honorable Winston Peters, Minister of Community Development, made an appeal for a revision of parenting styles.
Since the year 2007, the Community Mediation Services of the Ministry of Community Development has been embarking on a mission to help equip parents with the skills necessary to raise well-adjusted children in society. At the group's monthly parental support meetings, support in the form of information is shared to assist parents in managing and resolving conflicts in difficult family situations. At the last meeting, parents from the 11 parental support groups and 1 men's support group in communities across Trinidad were urged to rethink their parenting methods. The call came from the Honorable Winston Peters, Minister of Community Development, as he delivered the feature address. The minister drew reference to the Professor Selwyn Ryan report entitled No Time to Quit, Engaging Youth at Risk, which was compiled and released last year.
Last year, when Dr. Selwyn Ryan's report on youth at risk was released, the headlines seemed to only capture his statements about dance hall and its link to crime. However, Dr. Ryan's report strongly admonished parents and guardians to reconsider their approaches to child rearing. The finding of the Ryan's report clearly illustrated how children and youth at risk and the ways in which some parenting style contributed to their grave situation.
Minister Peters told parents to take a second look at their simple everyday actions.
Many of us think that as long as we are not physically damaging our children, we are not guilty of child abuse. But one major aspect of abuse is neglect. And I want to repeat, a major aspect of abuse is neglect. Neglect is when parents or guardians fail to meet a child's need of physical health care, nutrition, emotional nurturing, and adequate supervision. Child neglect has accounted for the disintegration of family structures and, by extension, communities in our country.
The Honorable Minister praised the Community Mediation Services Division for its initiative, which seeks to enhance parenting capability and contribute to restoring the family to a state of enablement.
In communities across Trinidad and Tobago, hundreds, and I dare say even thousands of children do not lose their lives in violent circumstances, but nevertheless, they live in fear and anxiety because of physical, sexual, emotional abuse and neglect by parents and close relatives. My hope is that today's session will increase our vigilance and ability to respond appropriately to situations such as those I have recounted. I would also like to use these examples to broaden your understanding of child abuse.
The next parenting workshop is scheduled for April 9, 2014. According to the ministry, that session will focus on child protection. Felicia Wilson, More News 4.
While we jump right into sport, the regional champions in Trinidad and Tobago football are now battling for promotion to the National Super League, the second highest level of club football in the nation. North champions Queen's Park Cricket Club came up against Easterners La Hoqueta Sporting Academy at the Atto Bolden Stadium on Wednesday night. Wayne Cunningham has the details.
6 regional champions are battling for 2 places in the National Super League. And on Wednesday, an experienced Queen's Park outfit met a youthful and gritty La Hoqueta Sporting Academy in a clash of North versus East. It took only 6 minutes for the scoring to get started in this one. La Hoqueta's Karen Clark robbing Queen's Park captain Joel Penko and finishing well. Try as he might, Penko could not catch Clark before he unleashed his scorcher past Jason Shepard. Clark is known as one of the best headers of the ball in association football, and he showed off that skill in the 21st minute. The centre from Amsterdam Jackson met perfectly by Clark to make it 2-0 La Hoqueta. Queen's Park settled down after that and employed their highly reputed passing game to make some inroads, but the speedy La Hoqueta defence dealt with the threat posed by Sean Ramdu and Joel Gibson. Instead, it would be Clark again punishing the Parkites for poor defensive work. A hat-trick for Karen Clark in the 36th minute to make it 3-0 La Hoqueta, and that was the score at half-time. Queen's Park came out sparking after the break. Troy Thompson rocking the upright as the period began. Then they sent in some firepower in the form of ace marksmen Vladimir Sweet and Jerome Charles. But La Hoqueta had the perfect answer, Karen Clark, as he once again showed great touch to make it 4-0. The lack of pace by Queen's Park exposed again in the 52nd minute as Clark does the beaver trick. And he wanted more, but Shepard came up with a fine save. At the other end, the normally reliable Charles missed a penalty to compound the woes of the track rate road team. His strike partner Sweet had better luck in the 72nd minute as he capitalized on a blunder. Sweet in the right place to pull one back for the Parkites and make it 4-1. That was all the scoring in the match, but La Hoqueta coach Jude John had a last bit of ceremony as he substituted Clark, who felt the love of the fans. The third round of matches in the Super League qualifying tournament will be on Sunday nationwide. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Saturday, March 15th is World Consumer Rights Day. In light of this, the Consumer Affairs Unit of the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment has found it appropriate to launch its countrywide caravan that begs the question, do you know your rights as a consumer?
In October 2013, the Consumer Affairs Unit of the Ministry of Legal Affairs was reassigned to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment. Under the stewardship of Senator the Honorable Vasant Bharath, the division was given the task of increasing its public presence and changing the perception that consumer affairs was a toothless bulldog. On Wednesday, the Consumer Affairs Caravan rolled into Trin City Mall as it launched a nationwide awareness campaign to raise public awareness of the division's offerings while ensuring the consumers knew their rights.
When we actually spoke to many consumers, we found that in general, people felt that consumer affairs had lost its way. They were not even aware in many cases that they still existed. And so therefore we had to do a complete rebranding and refocusing exercise on the relevance of the Consumer Affairs Division. And so over the last 2 months, that's what we've been doing internally, doing a deep dive into the kind of work that the Consumer Affairs Division ought to be doing to make it relevant to today's world.
The Consumer Affairs Division is responsible for providing education and information, advisory and dispute resolution services for goods and services that are advertised and purchased in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, in most instances, we are getting comments that this is something good that we are doing. Most people are saying they weren't aware as to where they should go if they have a consumer complaint. And some people are saying that, yes, they know of the Consumer Affairs Division, but they recognize that there's really a need to improve the profile of the Consumer Affairs Division.
We spoke to one consumer who said he benefited from the caravan and the information that was offered to him.
I had an idea of the consumerism. What I wasn't aware was how rigid, if it is we had y'all. I didn't know y'all really existed to the extent that y'all will help us to that effect, which is supposed what this drive is about. So when I read the pamphlets, I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't aware they could redress like that to the extent that they could be culpable. I didn't know that.
The Honourable Minister explained that the information would benefit not only the consumers in ensuring that their rights were protected, but also assist in raising the standard when it came to the retailing, wholesaling and purchasing of goods.
The exercise that we've undertaken is to ensure that not just, as you say, we empower the consumer, but we don't isolate the retailer. Because what we expect to do is that by providing this level of service and by consumers and retailers understanding each other's rights, we can ensure that the standard and quality of service and goods is raised, so that a retailer doesn't feel he can just pass on a substandard product to a retailer, to a consumer, and the consumer has no redress with regard to that. And I think once the retailer is aware that the Consumer Affairs Division is working effectively, and a consumer can go to the Consumer Affairs Division and get redress, I think the entire standard of merchantable goods will increase in Trinidad and Tobago.
Senator Barath affirmed that raising the standard and quality of goods and services offered to citizens of this country was an objective of his ministry. He believes that with the Consumer Affairs Unit's recent undertaking, this would be met.
That's an ongoing process and a very aggressive program that the ministry has launched with regard to our red tape to red carpet program. This forms part of that. I'm glad to see that a lot of it is in red, because that symbolizes exactly what we're attempting to do, to move from the bureaucracy of red tape, where there is a bureaucratic wall that's put up between government departments and the consumer on the outside, and even a tractor can't break it down in many cases. So what we're trying to do is to break down those bureaucratic walls and allow the consumer to be able to enjoy the services that government provides to them.
World Consumer Rights Day 2014 would be celebrated on March 15th and is an opportunity for promoting the basic rights of all consumers, demanding that those rights are respected and protected.
We really want to bring awareness to consumers that we are rebranding. We're looking at the whole question of having a Facebook page. Our email address is going to change, right? Our whole profile is going to change, and simply to make consumers more aware of the Consumer Affairs Division, that we are here to assist you when you have a problem. As the tagline say, putting the power on your side.
The Consumer Affairs Division will host 2 other mall outreach exhibitions from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday, March 14th at Long Circular Mall and on Saturday, March 15th at Gulf City Mall, San Fernando. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.